Okay. So the text comes in three formats like structured, and second one is semi-structured, and the third one is unstructured. We don't want any specific tools in handling this unstructured text, right? But handling this unstructured data is a little bit challenge, and how we are doing with that is more important. And handling this semi-structured is also a little bit fine, but handling unstructured data is quite complicated. And in handling this unstructured data, we use Hadoop. Hadoop is widely used only to handle or process unstructured data sets. Okay, so we don't want Hadoop ecosystem or a map reduce to process structured data set. So which is meant only to process unstructured data set. Whereas if you talk about Apache Hive, which can process semi-structured data set. And in this, I just want to add one more thing to this. There is a tool called Scoop, SQOOP, and that is called SQL plus Hadoop. So what is the speciality is this tool translates from SQL to Hadoop. That is the meaning of it. It translates from the relational data set to the way that a database supported by Hadoop unstructured manner, or it translates from Hadoop to relational database. And for this we use Scoop. Okay, so Hadoop can process a different set of formats. Just give me a minute. Okay, so Hadoop can process different data format. That is what as of we are discussing. It can be a text file, or it can be a flat file. It can be a database file. And here, what does the term mean? Split and record. See, when you talk about map reduce, we have two important phases. One is called mapper phase, and second one is called reducer phase. And in this mapper phase, each map process a single split. I mean, let us take the same example, like finding the frequency of word counts in a given storybook or in a given textbook. In this case, you will be doing mapping in the initial. I mean, you will be assigning set of 10 pages to set student 1, and next to student 2, and next to student 3. Here, each map corresponds to a split. So again, if you require any further sub mapping within the mapper, that is also possible. Like in case if it is a database, for each and every set of values, we have an attribute, right? So which specifies you the range of values. That is what we call as split. Okay, and a record and a value in that particular field, that is called as record. So let's see how the input splits are supported in Java. And here you can see public abstract class input split. And this input split comes with the package org.apache.hadoop MapReduce. And this input split has a length in bytes, and it has a set of storage locations, and in most general, that is host name strings. And just make a note of it. Split does not contain the input data, but it is just a reference to the data. Okay, I'm repeating it. Split does not contain the input data, it is just a reference to the data, or split is a part of map. So, what our map is doing, and for this will be acting as like a subdivision to the split. Okay, that is public abstract class input split. And second thing, like you can see public abstract long get length. So get length, so when if it is having any errors, it is going to throw exception. And And in handling this input format, we have few specifics. What is the minimum size and what is the maximum size, and how to get the things for the user. So those things will be handled by this get length and these get locations substrings. Okay, and now let us see in brief about these topics. Okay, so as a MapReduce application writer, we will not be dealing with how the input is being supplied into the program. Once when you pass the file name, further how it will be processing, all those things will be handled by the input format, and that is comes as like a package in mapreduce.org.apache. Okay, and you can see this example: public abstract class input format in bracket k comma v, that is which is shown with angular brackets, which is there k and v. So always whatever the input format, let it be a file or let it be a database file or let it be a line of text, let it be anything. The input format by default, whatever that we are passing, it will be get converted into key value. Okay, and next to that you can see public abstract list, that is the input split. For the given set of data will be get splitted into list, that is what we have written as list of k1 comma v1. So list of k1, I mean this list, this key can hold a set of values in a list. And what this context means, what this context is doing is, this context is responsible to populate key and value objects for the mapper. Okay, so the role of context is to populate the key and value objects for the mapper. Populate means like allocating the key and value objects for the mapper class. Okay, and next to that you can see the other most important thing is record reader k comma v. Record reader. See, this record reader is little more than like iterator over a records. When you start processing the values, as you can see the example of map and reduce program, and we shall take even the same example, like counting the frequency of words in a given line of text, where you can see each and the thing, the logic operation will be keep on repeating until it is completing its task. That is called iteration. So here this record reader is little more than this iterator over records, and what it is doing, in which it is being supported. For example, like we have a task tracker. Task tracker is one of the entity in MapReduce workflow, and in this task tracker, the map task, I mean the map phase, splits the given task. That will call the method called create record reader. Okay, so this is being handled in task tracker. Okay, so this create record reader method will be implemented or will be supported in a package called input format. The last example, we have written public abstract class input format. With that, this record reader will be supporting. Okay, and I hope the difference between the context and record ready is little bit clear now. Context, which will be populating the key and value objects for the mapper, whereas a record reader, it is something as like iterators, which is something like pointing to the objects, which will repeat, iterate until you complete the task. So that is the difference between record reader and the uh, context. And after the end, you can see next key value. So when we use the record reader, it is repeating again and again until your iteration gets complete. Okay, so I need at some stage my task will be getting completing. So when this, I will be calling a method called next key value. This next key value method returns false when you reach the end of the string. And furthermore, you are not going to reiterate it. At this stage, this method will be calling returning a boolean value called false, and thereby you can call a cleanup method, so which will clean up the further process. And finally, once this mapper task is run, then you are going to pass it on the reducer side. Okay. And some cases where you can even have multiple mappers to be run in the same Java virtual machine. Some cases you can have a single mapper function, and it can be like even just give me a minute. Okay. So some cases you can have a single mapper. Some cases you can have multiple mappers which can be executing on a single Java machine. But for each map, you'll be doing a split. Okay. So as if you take map reduce phase, you can see map phase, split phase. Then you talk about the intermediate phase, and you talk about a combiner, and you talk about a reduce phase. Okay. For this, we have seen a small example block diagram in the last session. And now the file input format. So this diagram which represents you the class hierarchy for the file formats. This is we have discussed in module 3. Again, it is the same diagram, and this shows you the implementations of input format files. So what are the different files that can be supported with the data sources, and how to handle these cases, and which provides you two things. One is a place to define where these files are included, from where you are going to get as an input to your task. And second, and implementation for generating splits for the input files. Okay. I will just make it clear. So file input format. So as I told you, this Hadoop is designed to support our to do process with unstructured text. That is the most challenging part of Hadoop. And in doing this, what are the different file formats that your Hadoop system can take? That is the next question mark. And here it can support a database with CSV format, or it can support a database with MDB format. It can support even even a file which contains all the different data, all to be grouped under a common category. It can be of anything. So which can process unstructured text. Okay. So first thing is, from where you are going to get the data. What is your data source, from where you are going to collect the data? And once, if I'm passing from my data, then I should talk about path, right? You know, path mean like a current working location path, or it may be on the some other system. That we shall be talking in the next slide regarding path. And second thing, implementation for generating splits. So wherever I talk about the mapper, I'm going to talk about splits. I'll be showing a small program. So here you can see different file input format, input paths. Okay. So in path is nothing but a list of where you can pass the list of inputs, or it is like um, okay, what I can call is a path is something that represents a file or directory, or which shows you a collection of files. That is called path. And like when you go for Java, like executing a program in Java, if your program resides in current working location, then you will not be getting any errors like path variables not found, or or you need path setting is not found. Then you need to configure it. Once if you have configured it, you will be able to execute the program even if it is not in the current working location directory. Similarly, like file input format, input paths. In Hadoop, we have the flexibility that we can pass the input path. It can be irrespective of anything. It need not to be residing in the same current working location directory. And here you can see four methods. The first method is job, second method is path. It means job, and this first job holds the job. Second job, it means, which is shown in small letter J, which holds a unique job ID, like job ID 1, job ID 2, job ID 3. It holds a unique job ID. along with that unique job id, it holds the path. And second, you can see job comma string comma separated paths. If you take a csv, it is comma separated value, where you can have each and every values with respect to comma. And third, you can see path input paths. This you can specific, you can pass even a set of line of paths in a single passage. If I have multiple collection of files, that also can be get passed. See, your input path means not alone that if I'm, for example, if I'm trying to get a data file, data set or a data file from my computer on some other location, some other directory, that can be passed as an input path. Treat that you are executing this system in a convoy LAN or in a one, where you are supposed to take input from multiple systems. Then you will be having multiple input paths. You will not be having a single input path. Okay. So if it is with a when you're handling with a single input path, then it is little bit easy. As that is one that comes under this example. When you are supposed to pass multiple input paths to your system, then again that becomes a complex problem. And to do that, we have one more method called add input path. Let me show it. To do that, we have one more method called add input path. This can be written in two categories. One is add input path, and second one is add input paths, plural. So this tells you that where you can pass a group of set of paths to your system. And one more thing is like when doing that, when I'm trying to pass multiple paths into my system, and I just want to retrieve, or I just want to take only few set of files, and I want to ignore the remaining set of files, for example. And do you have any queries with the things that we have discussed so far? I will make this little bit clear. See, treat that we are going to get the input from multiple data sources. Multiple data sources means where I have installed multiple sensors on the multiple systems or from the multiple areas. I am going to get the data. I'm going to get the data set from all the multiple data sources. Okay, and your Hadoop system should also be able to process those multiple data sources. And next thing is, and whatever, if my multiple data sources, whatever the data that I'm getting from this multiple data sources, and it need not to be that you should use all the data mandatorily. Okay. And you can filter out few data sets, you can filter out a few data values that are irrelevant to your task. And to do this, I can use a method called path filter. I can use a method called path filter, which helps you to exclude, okay, not include, which helps you to exclude certain files from your input. Okay, just as like using filtering in Excel, you can filter out something, and whatever that you need, that alone you can take, and whatever that you don't want it, you can ignore it. Similarly, wherever I can have multiple set of paths, where I get a data from multiple sources, if I want to just consider only few things, that whatever that I feel interest, the remaining things can be excluded using a method called set input path filter. And in this table, you can see the input path and filter properties. And you can see the second method, map red dot input dot path filter class. It is of type path filter. So what this does is this applies the filter to the input files. So where you can see whatever that you don't want, that will be excluded. The remaining things alone will be taken as your input. And the first method, map rate dot input dot dir, that is nothing but directory. Okay, where you are specifying the complete set of path with respect like a comma separated path. And some cases you can see like if you take some current working location directory of your computer, you will get c colon slash program file slash folder name slash folder name slash file name. That also can be passed. And remember one thing is, and when I'm doing this, if I apply filter, I can filter out the things whatever that I don't want or whatever that I don't require. Similarly, if I don't want to get or if I don't want to visit, or if I don't want to locate the hidden files, if you take your computer program files, and there are some hidden files means those are system files, but in processing the data source, you should not use those system files. They are hidden files, right? And that also can be done with the help of this filter method, by which you can exclude the system files. You can exclude the hidden files. And also, this hidden files mostly will be starts with the file name will start with dot, or the file name will start with underscore. Like these files you can ignore. You can filter these files, and the remaining files alone can be taken as input to your system for further processing. Is it clear, or is it just making a confusion? Is it fine, or are you getting confused? See, we'll make little bit short. One is, I can pass my input path from a single file, from a single system, or I can do it from a multiple data sources, multiple files. And when I do it from multiple data sources, if I want specific files like system files or some other files to not to be considered, I can use a method called filter. And mostly your system file name will start with dot operator, some cases underscore, some cases hyphen. So by applying this filter, I can ignore all these files. I can pass the remaining input to my file system. Okay, and for this I can use the option hyphen input, and this supports for both streaming and pipe interfaces with Hadoop. Okay, and now let us see different file input format input split. Okay, and in a given set of files, and let's see how this file input format turns them into splits. And when I talk about turning into split, I mean I'm going to map. Okay, so this information can be retrieved or can be taken from the mapper class. Okay, and this split size is normally the size of an HDFS block. If it is much more than that, then let us see how that maximum value can be further solved. And in this table, you can see the properties for controlling split size. And you can see the minimum split size is 1 and the maximum is long. Maximum value is something which is more than your block system, which is more than your cluster of blocks. And you can see the DFS block size. So the minimum split size is usually 1 byte, right? It is a lower bound, and the upper bound depends on your system or depends on your mission. Okay, and but make sure that whatever the blocks is that we allocate for this HDFS blocks, within that our maximum and minimum size should be there. Okay, for example, my block size should come within the minimum and within the maximum size. So this block size fits within the minimum to maximum. If we take it as a range of, and it has to be within the range where it starts from the minimum and ends with the maximum. Okay, and the next one is small files and combine file input format. So when we have more number of small files instead of a single large file, it is little bit better in handling with Hadoop. Instead of having a single large file, you can have some a number of small files all together that can be combined as a large file. Okay, so it is always better to handle to it is always better to go with a small number of large files than a large number of small files. For example, I have 10 small files. Okay, I have 10 small. Okay, let me take. I have 200 small files. But instead of doing this, what can be done is you can have less number. I mean, five number of large files. Okay, so five number of large file is more efficient than 10 and I mean 200 number of smaller files. That is what it means. So further, you can combine all the small files for further processing. Okay, so I'm repeating it. So instead of handling or instead of going with multiple more number of files, you can have less number of files whereby each file can be a large file. You can deal with large files. So let us take a small example. Like we have 1 GB file that is being broken into 1664 MB blocks. Okay, is it clear? And I've taken a 1 GB file and that I am splitting into 64 MB so that I will be getting 16 blocks as a result. Okay, or you can split that into 100 KB files. That is up to you. And here you can see we will getting 10,000 files. As a result, you will be getting 10,000 files, and each file has one map. When I talk about map, and again I'm going to talk about split. Okay, so as a result, I can get if I'm doing it in a little bit opposite manner, I can get one equivalent one file with a single, I mean, for each every 16 map task, I can get a single input file. So instead of doing this, I can have a small number of large file. And to combine this, we use a function called combine file input format. And that combine file input format method is supported in input format file. Sorry, there is some network issue. Okay. And to combine multiple small files, we have the method called combine file input format, and that is supported with the file that is supported in the file package called file input format. Okay, so that is how it works. And again, it talks about record reader and this file information in the mapper. So at the end, we will be calling object. We will be calling a mapper context object. So this is will be populating the key and value pairs in the class. And in the old MapReduce, in the classic MapReduce streaming, the file split information is available through the property like mapper configuration, and you can see some set of methods. And here in this map reduce 2, in this map reduce with yarn, we can see get path method, and we can now get start, and we can now get length. Okay, whereby you will be getting the length of split in bytes, and how to process a whole file as a record. And to do this, we need the help of mappers and record reader. Okay, we are just not splitting the files, but thereby what we are doing is we are trying to deliver the file contents as the value of the record, where you can pass a whole complete file as a value. And for this, you can see this example. In this example, the most important is we have two most important method. One is splittable, and second one is record reader. Okay, so these are two most important methods in this program, and let us see what is the idea or how it works. And this program, we are going to pass the whole text as a input, that is whole file input format. It defines a format where the keys are not used, that we are representing by null writable. Okay, that we are representing by null writable as a first parameter, and the values in that file are represented by bytes writable, that is the second parameter. Okay, with that byte writable instance, and we define two method. The first method is called is splittable, and the regard this is splittable we have discussed in the last before slide. The is splittable will return a false, will return the result as false when, I mean, when you try to split the input files, when it reaches the end, further it is not going to split anything. So thereby you will be getting, or you will be get reached this a condition called false. And second method is create record read, and you can return you can return some customized implementation of record reader. For example, specifically I just want to pass a part of the input text to a file, or where I can pass the set of things of the set of lines of the set of lines in a given line of text in a complete system. So thereby I can use this. And next we will be talking about text input. So Hadoop as a performance, Hadoop has shown its performance excellence in handling this unstructured text. And now let's see what are the different text input format and how it is processed in key value pair. Okay, as in respect to key, we use long writable, and let us call the value is a text object. Here you can see, and let us see the file contains the following text. The text is on the top of the empty tree 1 2, and this four statements are the text which is given as input to your system. Okay, am I clear? So this is the complete set of text which is passed as an input to your system, and now this will be get splitted into four records since we have four line of text. Okay, as a result you can see in key value pairs, so thereby the key starts at the default index 0, and next to that key you can have the line 1 as a value. Okay, so 0 is the key which is holding the value as a line 1, that is a record of information. And second you can see 33, so like as of respect to block size, the second block starts at 33, and that block holds a line as the second line. So we can see four set of records with the four set of line values, where you can see the keys like 0, 33, 57, 89, and make clear that the keys are not the line numbers. The key that whatever that you're assigned to the value or not the line numbers. Line number means just you can take as like 1 2 3 4, but we are not passing that as a line number. We are not passing that as a line number as a input, but what we are trying to do is like we are talking about split. So split which is going to broken, I mean which is going to break the map into splits. And this, and how this key value text input format is performed. So in performing key value text input format, we will be having offset within the file, and where in processing a text file or in doing in handling with a file, we'll be talking about a few more things like the offset value. And here you can use the separator like map reduce dot input dot key value line record reader. Okay, and whereby you can have a default tab character. Let me show you example. Okay, and an example. Okay, let me tell the example and treat that we have the last example. Let me go to the last example. See, in this example, you can see line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. If I'm using as like a tab character, so that I will be getting a line 1 arrow mark, the value, the record in the line 1, line 2 arrow, the record in the line 2, line 3 arrow, the record in the line 3. In this way also you can show this value. And in addition to that, we have one more thing called n line input format. N represents the number of lines of input that each mapper receives. That is called n. Okay, so n line input format, it is a single method which will be written without any space. N line input format, which refers to how many number of lines of input that each mapper is going to receive and process. By default, each mapper receives exactly one line of input, that is by default. Okay, as a result of this example, you can see this n value will be 4. Okay, whereby I'm going to pass 4 values, and that is the use of n line input format. And next about XML. So you can use XML or JSON. Okay, and let's see. XML parsers operate on the whole XML documents. If it is a large document, where thereby you can have multiple input splits, and this is more challenging when we do this with Hadoop. And I can call like this is similar to processing whole text as an input to your mission. Okay, and for this purpose we have a method, and for this we have a method called stream xml record reader. You can see it comes with a method called stream xml record reader, and it is the one where you can set your input format using stream input format. Okay, by this you are configuring, you are telling like what are the different where does start and where it ends the tag. As an example, let's take Wikipedia. Like, so Wikipedia provides you the dumps of contents in XML form, or which is a suitable example for processing in parallel using map reduce. And here the data is let us consider that the data is contained in a large XML wrapper document, further which contains a series of elements like page elements that contain page content and that is associated with the metadata. Okay, a complete large wrapper XML document that is holding set of elements, and which holds a page elements, and which holds a page content, and which is associated with metadata. I mean, which is related or linked with metadata. And to process this, we can use stream XML record reader. Okay, the page elements can be interpreted as records for processing by a mapper. So this is how to parse things using XML. And next, binary input. So binary input is like Hadoop is not restricted to process any textual data, and you can even process binary kind of information. Okay, Let us see. So sequence file input format, and it stores sequence of binary key value pairs. And sequence files are well suited for map reduce data since they are splittable. And to use this sequence data, to use this data from sequence files, okay. To use data from sequence files as the input to MapReduce, we can use a method called sequence file input format. And here the key and values are determined by your sequence file. For example, and if the sequence file has some keys and values like k and value, we talk k can be also considered as key in and v can be considered as values. Okay. So mapper, what it does is, so mapper will be having set of things like one is int writable, second one is text with respect to like key and value, and where key and value key k and v, that is the type of map output keys and values. And we have one supporting method to this is called sequence file input format. So that converts the sequence file keys values into text objects. And this conversion is performed in the system by when you call a method called toString. So that is the method which is used for conversion. And at last, multiple inputs. What, like if I have multiple jobs which consists of multiple input files, how I can interpret all the multiple inputs into a single mapper, how I can just combine listen with this we have discussed, right? How I can get things from multiple inputs and how I can make use of filter in this, the same example. And the last type is database input and output. See, when I talk about DB, database, the next terms comes JDBC, Java Database Connectivity. You can even call as ODBC, Open Database Connectivity. Okay. So this DB input format is an input format for reading data from a relational database like SQL. You should have done some mini projects whereby you have used this database as your backend, where you have connected your SQL with Java. This is the same. This is same as a simple example. But one thing is, this does not have any sharding capabilities. This we have discussed in NoSQL. NoSQL supports sharding, whereas which is not there in relational databases. That comes under non-relational databases. And when you are handling a non-relational databases and to load and to process, that is challenging when comparing to this. Okay. And for that we have an alternate method called scoop. So the task of scoop is which converts a relational data into HDFS, and reverse also, which converts HDFS again into a relational databases. For this we can use a Hadoop tool called scoop. And the other thing is called HBase table input format, so which is designed to allow a map reduce program on data stored in a HBase table.